guys, I'm editing this and I realize I say a lot in this video, so if you don't like when people say then you probably shouldn't watch this video. Hey guys, it's Fairy Truths here, and I just want to start off and apologize for the lighting. Two of my bulbs blew out last night, or the night before. They recently blew out, so I only have one light bulb out of 3 that I had. So, yeah, I'm just going to replace those ASAP, but for now, you get this crappy lighting. So first and foremost, this is going to be a video about fairy illnesses. This is one of my most requested videos, and it was just one of the easiest to make at the moment, and I want to obviously put out stuff that you guys want to see. This was highly requested for a very long time, and then I'm going to get to the newer requests later on, but I will be posting requested videos for quite a while, pretty much, because I obviously want to post what you guys want to post, along with my frequent Q&As that I do. But anyway, this is just a list of all the requests. As you see, I always write them down. So these are all video ideas, and the top of my list is actually a video about all the mythical beings that I know of and that I have information on that are real. And that was highly requested, along with the eye color changing spell, which I have not figured out yet, but hopefully I can get that for you guys because it was super requested. And yeah, there's a bunch on here, and obviously I will get to those. But for today, the video is fairy illnesses, and we're just gonna get right into it. So the first, I wrote everything down so I didn't miss anything. There aren't actually that many. I could only think of 3. I sat down and collaborated. Fairies pretty much get the same illnesses as any other human or creature. However, there are a few that do specify to fairies only, and the first one being fairy fever, or sometimes it's called the fairy flu. So, how do you know you have this? Well, here are the signs and symptoms. Fever, which, your body temperature would be over the normal body temperature, just like any other fever and flu. You would have colored patches or blisters around certain parts of your body, mostly your arms and your legs. There can be some on your face, but it's usually rare for that to happen. But if it does, it's completely normal. It's just fairy fever and flu. Your wings will feel very heavy and tired all the time. It will be very hard to fly. You are capable of flying to get around if you need to. However, your wings just feel very heavy, and it's hard for you to move around and use them, but it's not impossible, pretty much, because there are sicknesses on here that make it impossible to fly, and I will get to that, but this one you can fly. So something you're going to notice if you have the fairy flu or fever is you're going to be a lot less happy and perky than you are normally as a fairy. And you all know that as a fairy, you're super happy, perky, just super cheerful and positive. This is going to change. Not drastically, obviously. You won't become depressed or anything like that, but you will start to complain more. You'll start to be less thankful for certain things, and you'll just feel very groggy and upset. Another one is that you won't be able to connect with animals as well. So, like I said many times, when you're a fairy, you're very connected with animals rather than when you are a human. So that's going to change also. So you'll basically kind of be feeling your side effects from transforming backwards, if that makes sense. Another thing is you're going to experience very dry, red eyes, not a lot of lubrication in your eyes. You're going to want to use lots of eye drops for that, definitely, because it is important. It could mess with your vision if you don't take care of the lubrication in your eyes. It could also be very uncomfortable for you. And the last symptom that is the most, out of the most common symptoms is forgetfulness and dizziness. So basically the forgetfulness will not be oh, I have this pen in my hand. Where's my pen? It's I'm just giving an example. It's going to be you will not remember your spells. You will not remember what you can and cannot do as a fairy. It's going to be stuff like that. Oftentimes, commonly with this illness is that you will forget certain spells that you know by heart, or you will forget that you have certain abilities that maybe you don't use as often. If you have the green aura and you don't normally help plants grow, you might forget that you can do that in certain circumstances, if that makes sense. And there is a treatment for this. Doesn't cure it. You can get it over and over again, but this just gets rid of it when you do have it. And what you do is there's a small potion that you make, and you're going to apply that potion to the blister or patches on your skin, and then you're going to also apply it to your T-zone. So this and your chin. So it's kind of like, I guess, just all over your face, just not, you don't have to rub it in, just put it on those areas. And yeah, this is the potion that you will use. You're going to need lemon or lime juice, either or, doesn't really matter for this one. You're going to need orange juice. You're not like orange juice, like concentrated orange juice, like actual juice that you squeeze from an orange, straight from the orange. And then you're going to need salt or sea salt. Sea salt works the best, but salt is just fine. Honey, and then fairy dust. You do not need a lot of fairy dust, and you do not need a lot of these things at all. There is no specific amount. It just depends on how bad you're experiencing these symptoms. It's different for everybody. So I would just recommend starting off low, and you keep the stuff on, and after a few hours, the patches should start to fade away, and if they're not, then you know you need to apply more. And yeah, so each time you would add more ingredients as necessary. So the next illness is actually not exactly an illness, it's actually a condition. So what this is a wing fracture, and if you don't know, a fracture is a break. They're the exact same thing. Doesn't matter what you've been told, a fracture is a break. I just wanted to clear that up because I used to think that a fracture and a break were two completely different things, and they're actually the exact same thing. So when you fracture your wing, it is broken. This can happen from many different things. It's very rare. Wings are pretty durable, but it can happen. Usually from weather. It's not safe to fly in extreme thunderstorm weather, hurricane weather, tornado weather. None of that is safe, and it's not recommended. However, sometimes you really don't have a choice. The storm comes out of nowhere, especially where I live in Florida. It'll be completely sunny out, and then all of a sudden you walk 2 feet and it's storming, thundering, lightning, everything, hurricane. Maybe not hurricane, but you know, you get it. And yeah, this is usually, they're not too bad of fractures, but you know, everyone's different. You might have a really bad fracture and it might hurt a lot, but there are ways to treat it. What you can do is make your own wing splint. And if you don't know what a splint is, it's basically just like something to hold your broken, fractured body part in place so that the bones don't move and harm it more. So if you've ever seen like that cardboard thing that people use for a broken forearm, and they stick it in there and they have it there, it's that, but for your wing. You're going to have to make one out of cardboard boxes, and if you look up how to make a splint for any body part, you can learn how to make a splint. It's really easy. I mean, it's very rare that you will ever have to do this. This is one of the rare illnesses, or conditions. But yeah, you're gonna want to lay on your stomach while it's fractured, because it could compromise the fracture even more if you lay on it at all or put any pressure to it. And then you're gonna just rest it for 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, the fracture should have repositions itself, and it should have fixed the wing. And the side effects you'll experience to know for sure that it's broken is going to be fatigue, and not just in your wings, all over. Pain in your back or your lower body, so anywhere from your back down to like below your hips might be extremely in pain, or you might feel a little discomfort depending on the seriousness of your fracture. You'll have the inability to fly, so you will not be able to fly with whichever wing is broken, which means that you will not be able to fly because you can't fly with one wing. That would be pretty cool if it could. Be very difficult to do. And then going with that, you cannot move or feel that wing. You won't be able to feel the part that's broken. It will be numb to you. So it will be painful, but numb, if that makes sense. So I don't really, it's kind of contradicting itself, but the whole wing itself will be in pain, while that specific area you won't really be able to feel. Okay, and the last one that I have for you guys is a fairy cold. This is a very common cold, very common cold for fairies. And it happens usually during seasonal changes. If you are transforming and you feel sickness, this is completely unrelated. If you're in the middle of a transformation, you may get cold symptoms. This is completely unrelated to this. This is for people who are fully transformed into a fairy. So just keep that in mind when thinking about this. So you won't get a fairy cold unless you're full fairy. So the signs and symptoms for this are a cough or a runny nose, Something you may experience is random aura changes. Now this goes into play with those temporary auras. There are so many temporary auras that aren't even like, we don't know what they are because they're temporary, but if you go on my updated auras video from a while ago, I mentioned the temporary auras briefly. So you will experience slight aura changes from time to time while you're experiencing a fairy cold. You will notice that your spells aren't working properly, or they might not work at all, and this is normal. It's just because your magic's a little bit off since you have a cold. And you'll experience minor to extreme leg pain depending on how bad your cold is. Way to treat this is a drinkable potion and a get better spell, as we call it. And the ingredients for the potion are salt, any kind of salt, warm water, honey, and edible fairy dust. So this actually is something that I have never talked about before, and this is optional. It may not work as well without it, but it's better if you use this. You basically just use edible glitter instead of regular glitter for your fairy dust mixture. So yeah, that's edible fairy dust. Do not consume glitter in this potion. It will be not good. Okay, and then you'll need lemon juice. And you're going to mix that well and take it every 12 hours. So after 12 hours, if you're still not feeling well, you should take it again. Again, this is just depending on how bad your cold is. You might not need a lot, so start off small, and after 12 hours, if it's not good, maybe add a little bit more of each ingredient. And this is the get better spell for that one. I am not feeling well. Please help me potion and get better spell. And you're going to say that 1 to 3 times, again, depending on how severe your cold is and how many times you've already done this. So maybe it's your first time doing this, and then you want to say it once, and then 12 hours later you want to say it twice. And if that doesn't work, then 3 times, you know. So it just really depends. This stuff isn't set in stone. There's no specific measurement. But yeah, that's the get better spell. I will write it in the description for you if you couldn't understand it. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And again, like I said, I have all your suggestions written down here. So I will be getting those videos out for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!